So we're going to start this class in child's pose, which is a lovely soft hip opener to get going. Widen your knees to be as wide as your mat, roughly. Big toes to touch or to be as close together as you can. And then hands walk away from you. Forehead rests to the floor. And just allow yourself to settle here and find some stillness in your body. You can either let the elbows rest down and have heavy arms, or you can allow your upper body to start to find some opening and lift your elbows away from the mat, maybe stacking your hands onto fingertips, or you can just leave the palms flat. Start focusing on your breathing, and as you breathe in, think of the breath going all the way down into the belly. And as you breathe out, slowly allow the air back out through the nose, feeling the body soften and feel a little heavier as you do. Again, breathing in, fill the body. Breathing out, soften the body. Take one more, breathe in. And breathe out. Good. Try to stay connected to your breath in this way as we move through the different shapes. So we're going to walk our hands off to the right side of the mat. Chest moves towards the right knee, and then either leave your hands separate or take your left hand on top of your right hand, and then your head dangles between your arms. Think of pushing your left sit bone down towards your left heel. Doesn't have to touch, obviously. It's just the direction that you're pressing your weight. And now breathe into that left side of the body. Use the inhale to expand a little more, stretch a little more. And use the exhale to walk back to the center. Great, straight over to the other side. Body moves towards the left thigh. Option to place the right hand on top of the left if you wish, or not if you don't wish. Breathe into the right side body. Feel that extra length as you inhale. And then exhale to walk back to the center. Great, push yourself up towards hands and knees. Just bring your knees a little closer together so they're hip distance apart. Your toes to stay tucked under behind you. Keep your hips here on top of your knees, so don't allow your bum to come with you now. Walk your hands away from you, and again let your forehead come to the floor. So this is puppy pose. It's much more focused into the upper body, into the shoulders, into the chest, and give your hands a nice press down against the floor. You should feel that activity in your shoulders, makes it a little bit more active. The chest is nice and heavy, sinking down towards the mat, but the armpits and the elbows stay lifting away. Breathing in as before. Breathing out. Keep the breath slow, steady and controlled. One more. Great. Take little steps with the hands to walk them all the way back in until you come into a tabletop. So that means shoulders above wrists, hips above knees, and your belly is lightly drawing up towards your spine, so you're starting to brace through your core. On a deep breath in, let your ribs push down to the mat, lift your chest and look forwards into your cow pose. On the exhale, round your spine, tuck your tailbone, tuck your chin to your chest into your cat. So we're warming up into the spine. Again, breathing in, ribs go down, chest lift, shoulder blades squeeze together. Exhale to round, hollowing out the belly, really press into the arms. Let's do one more, breathing in, push your sit bones to the sky, look up. And breathing out to broaden the shoulder blades, pressing the spine to the sky between them. Bring yourself back to that neutral spine, that flat back, and then keeping your gaze down towards your hands, send your right leg out behind you and aim to keep it about parallel with the mat. You can either reach through the toes or you can reach through the heel, so it's either a pointed foot or a flexed foot. The gaze stays down at the mat, and then the left arm reaches forwards to the top of the mat, so you're growing as tall as you can between your fingertips and your tippy toes or your heel. Keep that belly pulling up towards your spine. Keep strong through this right arm. And keep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Now, as if this wasn't too hard, we're going to swing the arm out to the left, the leg out to the right, and grow as wide as you can now between those fingertips and that toe. Much harder in this direction. See if you can keep that right leg lifting away from the floor. Hold it for one more breath in. And then be happy to place it down onto the mat, or off the mat, I guess it will be. Stack your body up tall, so you should now be kneeling on the left leg with your right foot, toes point to the top of the mat, and the ankle to be in line with your knee. Right hand rests onto your leg that you've got extended to beside you. Inhale, left arm to the sky, and then just a little lean out towards the right. You really don't need to go far. We're trying to find this stretch into the lower quadrant of this left side. And just take your gaze under your armpit as you pull your arm to the sky, keeping your tailbone lightly tucked under so the hips get some stretch too. Breathing in, breathing out. Good, last one. And then exhale. Let your hands and knees come back onto the mat into your tabletop. Again, as you inhale, lift the chest, sit bones to the sky, gazing up a little forwards. Exhale to round your back and hollow out the body. This time it's the left leg that's going to reach out behind you and the right arm that's going to reach forwards. Gaze stays down, grow as long as you can, keep your belly pulling up towards your spine. Holding your core in firm, breathing steadily. Great, inhale to hold here. Exhale, sweep those limbs wider. Keep them as high away from the mat as you can. You should really feel this fire up your core even more. That left glute is definitely doing its fair share of the work. Inhale, hold it. And then exhale, place that left foot down. Same as before, the ankle goes in line with the knee, the toes point forwards, and we make sure we stay kneeling on top of the right knee, not sort of over nothing. Left hand onto the leg next to you. Inhale, first reach up to the sky, think of growing tall. Then exhale, a little lean towards the left, tailbone tucks under, hips push forwards, and the gaze goes under the arm. Focus your breath into the right side of the body, breathing in. Slowly breathing out. Last one. And then drawing the body upright, bringing your knees back onto the mat. So from here, bring your knees together and tuck your toes under behind you. Walk yourself back until you're sat onto the balls of the feet and just make sure all toes are tucked. And this will either be very intense or not too bad. You're kind of one or the other. At this point, you might need the strap, as I mentioned earlier, as we stretch the upper body. It depends on the tightness that you're working with. If you're using a strap, you're going to inhale, reach the right arm, if you're using the strap, hold it in your right hand. Inhale, reach your right arm to the sky, and then exhale, reach that hand down between your shoulder blades so the strap is dangling if you're using it, and then your left hand can either come to find your fingertips or you come to hold that strap behind your back. Either way, you've got something to hold on to. If you don't have a strap, hold on to your own t-shirt or grab something that you can use as a strap, such as a spare t-shirt. Staying here and keeping your chin lifted away from your chest, your top elbow nice and close in towards your head and your bottom elbow close in towards your ribs. Now we're going to move through a balancing pose, so see if you can leave your arms bound here, option to release them if it becomes too intense. Lift yourself away from your heels so you're now kneeling upright. We're going to draw our right foot to the top of the mat into a lunge. Wobble, wobble, wobble. Once you've got that foot placed and firm, sink your hips forwards and down. So you're driving your pelvis to the front line of your mat. Squeeze through your left glutes and press into the ball of that back foot that the toes are still tucked under from. Keep lifting your chest. Try to look forwards, maybe even slightly upwards. Releasing those arms, those shoulders have done their fair share there. Left hand goes down to the floor. Inhale, send your right arm to the sky. Take your gaze with it and turn through your chest as well. Have a nice strong push into that left hand to help your torso rotate. And then with that back foot, the toes are hopefully still tucked under. Press the heel away from you to lift your back knee off of the mat. Take one more breath in as you keep reaching tall. As you exhale, bring that right elbow. See if you can tap the floor. Don't worry if you can't. You've just got the intention of dropping as low as you can to the inner of the right thigh. Inhale, arm back to the sky, gazing up. Exhale, seeing if we can tap the mat or just go in that direction. Last one, inhale to the sky. And then exhale, little tap. Let your back knee drop back to the floor, and you can either stay on the elbow if that is there for you, but that's quite a deep range of flexibility. So if you're not quite there, rest onto your hands. Both hands are on the inside of the foot. The front knee stays nice and close to the shoulder, and you can now untuck that back foot and give it the little rest it deserves. Keep your body pulling forward, so you're trying to keep your torso long and straight, and the body is heavy on the inside of the thigh, sinking down to the mat. Breathe in and breathe out. Great. Swipe this front foot back, so you're back into your tabletop, and I'm afraid your feet have that to endure one more time on the other side. So tuck those toes under, walk yourself back, have your strap there with you if you need it. Stretching the soles of the feet, this time strap into the left hand if you're using it. Inhale, reach the arm overhead. Send that hand down between your shoulder blades, and then your right hand fiddles its way round to see if it can find the strap, find your fingertips, and then lift through your chest. Top elbow is pulling in towards the head, and you can even use that lift of your chin to press your head back against your arm. That really gets into that tricep. So moving forward, see if you can stay with this arm shape. Lift your hips away from your heels, kneeling tall. Keep those toes tucked under, firm your core for balance. See if that left foot can step out to the top of the mat. You can always give it a little shuffle a little further if it didn't make it very far. Sink those hips forwards and down. Lift your ribs, lift your chest, lift your gaze, and squeeze through your right glutes to help that right hip flexor open. Hold here, deep breath down into the belly. Breathing out. Last one. And then release that strap, that bind if you have it, and you can pop that to one side. Right hand goes down to the floor. With an inhale, left arm to the sky, turning, twisting, and gazing to those top fingertips. Keep your front knee nice and close to your torso. Press down into the ball of the big toe side of your foot. And then this back right leg, push the heel away from you. Lift the knee as you come into your lifted low lunge. Inhale, keep reaching the arm tall. Exhale, see if that left elbow will tap the mat. Maybe it doesn't, but just drop to the inner of the thigh. Inhale, back to the sky, chest and gaze follows. Exhale, lowering, maybe tapping. So you can get a little further each time. Inhale, back reaching tall. And then exhale. Maybe the elbow rests down. You can pause there if it does. But like I say, if you're there already, you're doing extremely well with your flexibility. So staying on your hands is a nice place to be. You can drop that back knee and untuck the back toe if you like to make it a little bit more of a less strenuous stretch. But keep that chest pulling forwards. Try to take away that rounded shape in the upper back. Shoulder blades are together, chest pulls forwards. Take one more, breathing in and breathing out. Great, this time we're going to step the back foot in to meet the front foot. So make sure your hands are either side of your leg. Back foot steps in, let your feet come together. Balls of the feet touch, your heels don't have to. Knees stay bent, belly and thigh want to rest together here. So bend your knees as much as you need to compress the body and the thighs together. Your arms can then hang freely in front of the body. Maybe you'd prefer to cross them if that feels more comfortable. And just allow your elbows to feel very heavy. Pulling the torso towards the floor. And now really push your hips to the sky, but not separating belly and thigh. That's the bit you want to stay connected as you push the hips tall. Stay with the breathing, particularly if this feels very intense for you. Distract yourself with your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Great. From here, place your hands onto the floor, so bending the knees as much as you need to. Step your feet to the back of the mat into plank. So your heels push out backwards, the tailbone is tucked, and the chest stays nice and broad. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, tip your weight forwards towards your fingertips. Keep that tailbone tucked, the core strong, elbows close to your ribs as you slowly lower yourself down to the floor with control. Let me shuffle back. From there, draw your forearms out onto the mat in front of you so that your elbows are right underneath your shoulders. Turn your palms to face down to the mat. Press the hips into the floor. Inhale, lift your chest, look forwards. Feel like you're dragging your elbows back towards your hips as you pull your hips forwards and down into the mat. Sphinx pose. Gently reach out through your toes, so your legs are working as well, and you should feel the squeeze, the engagement of your lower back muscles as you think of stretching through your belly. Inhale as you hold. And then releasing your chest down to the mat. Take your hands just either side of your armpits, tuck your toes behind you, push via your knees, and then we're sending our hips into the sky for downward facing dog. So it's an upside down V shape, but keeping the legs a little bit bent. And by keeping the knees bent, we can keep the spine nice and long. We can lengthen out the lower back as well as open into the shoulders. Think of your shoulder blades staying broad across your back as if they're rolling around towards your face, and then push into the hands to send your chest back towards your legs. That's the bit that's going to open through your shoulders. Holding here, breathe in and breathe out. Great, so moving into a three-legged dog with the right leg, as you inhale, lift it to the sky and keep the leg as straight as you can. Even if that means you can't lift the leg quite so high, keep it straight and use your strength to lift tall. On the exhale, keep the leg in the sky, roll your body forwards towards plank, option to put it down if you need to. Exhale again, bend those elbows and bring yourself down to the mat, either on 3 limbs or 4. This time, take your hands forwards and wider than your shoulders and more in front of your shoulders. So more in front of where we were before. With an inhale, press down into your hands, ripple your chest up and draw your elbows in. Keep your neck as long as you can. So shoulder blades draw down your back as your chest pulls forward. So those same lower back muscles are working. Press your pelvis down, reach out through your toes. Make sure your shoulders are down. There's no shruggy going here. Inhale to hold. Exhale, release your chest down onto the mat. From here, take your right arm out alongside your shoulder with the palm facing the floor. So make sure, as if you're making a big capital T shape with your arm. Then roll onto your right hand side. Let your head rest down to the floor, and you're thinking of keeping your right shoulder sunken down towards the mat as well. So a big stretch for the front of the chest, the shoulder, lots into this upper right side of the torso. Your left hand is just resting here to help give your body this rotation onto the side to help you stop flopping back onto your belly. Give your palm a gentle press against the floor. Lovely. Inhale. As you exhale, roll yourself back onto your belly. Hands go back underneath those armpits. Tuck your toes, hips to the sky, and downward facing dog. So we're going to do that on the other side. Remember, in our down dog, little bend in the knees, push into the hands, open those shoulders. Left leg, inhale to the sky, keep it straight, reach through those toes. There's always the option to place it back down if this becomes too challenging, but inhale to come forwards to plank. Exhale, elbows next to rib cage as you come all the way down to the floor. Hands go a little forwards, a little wider than your shoulders. Inhale, lift your chest. This is cobra pose. Keep your neck long, your shoulder blades sunken, and the elbows pulling inwards. On the exhale, release your chest down, and this time it's the left arm. Reach it out alongside the shoulder, palm faces the floor, capital T shape, and then roll your torso onto that left side, using your right hand to help you roll. Think of focusing your breath into that top left side of the chest so that your inhale gives you that little bit of extra expansion and stretch. Keep pressing the palm down as you breathe out. Great, roll yourself back onto your belly and then just prop yourself back up onto the elbows like we were a moment ago into Sphinx. This time we're bending the right knee, heel towards bum. Your right hand is going to go and find your foot, preferably taking the inside arch of your foot. Give that foot a little pull in towards your bum until you start to feel your quad stretching, front of your right thigh. Once you've got a little bit of a stretch there, I want you to think of the front side of your right hip just here and press it down into the floor. Imagine there is a little P under the front of your pelvis and you're trying to squish it against the mat. You'll know if you've done that right because suddenly you'll have felt quite a leap in intensity of stretch there. Squeeze through your right glutes and keep your chest lifted. This left elbow is keeping the upper body afloat. This is our half frog. Hold the foot, breathe in. And then gently let it go. Breathing out, switch sides. Right elbow, keep it forward so the chest stays floating. Bend through the left knee, find the foot. And first, just find that quad stretch before you go any further and prepare. And then press down through that pelvis, squeeze through the glutes and really send that stretch not only into your quad, but further up into your hip flexor. Definitely one to breathe through if this is an intense stretch for you, as it is for most people. Breathe in and then release that foot as you breathe out. Then allow your chest to come down onto the mat. We're going to add those sort of two poses together, our cobra and our half frog, and we're going to use what we've created there into bow pose. So both knees are going to bend and bring your feet as close in towards each other as they can, so not super wide. We're reaching back and this time holding onto the little toe out of the side of the foot, so the outer of the foot. From there, think of it as a strength of the leg pose. I want you to kick your feet to the sky as you lift your chest, just like you did in Cobra, just like you did in Sphinx, and push your hips down to find that lift of the legs. There may not be much lift here, but keep fighting for that push. Breathe into your belly. Slowly breathe out. It's really hard here. Take one more, breathe in. And then breathe out. Release the legs, release the arms. Take your hands under your chest. Your knees want to be relatively wide so that when you push up, you bring your big toes to touch and you'll find yourself sinking back to the heels, back into child's pose. Take yourself a couple of breaths, particularly if that feels like something you need a moment to recover from. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Great, walk your hands in and then simply spin your legs around onto the mat in front of you and come into a cross-legged seat, right shin in front to begin with. As you breathe in, reach your arms tall and think of lengthening the sides of your body. As you breathe out, your hands come to the mat in front of you, chin falls towards your chest. As you give your feet a press down into the mat. So think of the little toe edge of your foot that's in contact with the floor and push it down. Think of denting your mat. Good, inhale. Walking those hands back in as you exhale, sitting yourself tall. So from here, take your legs out wide, so wider than your mat, into a big V shape. Generally, as we do that, the tailbone starts tucking under and we start sitting quite slouched. So see if you can take the fleshy part of your thighs, slightly roll them in towards each other and sit onto your sit bones. If you have a yoga block or sitting onto a cushion that can help you sit tall and find this length in your lower back, then do that. Toes pull back towards the shins and knees face towards the sky. Fingertips are going to place just behind our hips. And as you inhale, lift your chest to the sky and find that length as best you can. Most people will be sort of using their fingertips here to pull the body upwards. If you have more flexibility, you can take this pose further with your hands in front of your legs. Keep pushing the heels away from the body as you pull the toes back towards and press the back of the thighs down towards the floor. Engage your quads, kneecaps towards hips to help your hamstrings lengthen. Take one more breath in. And then breathing out, release. Recross the legs, this time left shin in front. Inhale, reach the arms tall, lengthen the side body. Exhale to fold. Hands to the mat, chin to the chest, and once again push those feet down against the floor. Think of your sit bones sliding towards the back of the mat as your fingertips crawl forwards. Great, last breath in. And then breathing out. Walk your hands in. We're then going to take our legs out onto the mat straight in front of us. Same as when the legs were wide, we want the knees and the toes pointing to the sky, and we're aiming to keep our lower back long. Sitting and elevating the pelvis is a great way to achieve this. You can do this pose with slightly bent knees. If you're struggling to sit tall with whatever it is that you've got, we're looking for a hamstring stretch. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Toes strongly flex back towards the body. Breathe in, lift your arms to the sky. I'm going to do this with bent legs. You can still get a lovely stretch here. Belly goes towards thighs. Your hands might find your feet, but they might not. If you have a strap, you can always hook round the balls of both your feet to help you have something to hold on to. If none of that is there for you, you can always just hold on to your own ankles. It's good to have something to hold on to so that you can draw against that to help you stretch. As you pull against your own feet or ankles or strap, think of pulling your chest towards your toes so you're going forwards rather than pulling yourself down. Find that point where you've got a good old hamstring stretch, but you can still relax your face. You can still breathe. You can still feel okay here. If you manage to calm the body, the mind a little, you may be able to walk your hands a little further. You may be able to straighten the legs a little more. There's always the option to deepen if that's what you need today. Take your final inhale here. As you exhale, roll your body up nice and tall. Scoot your bum a little forwards to make sure you've got some space on the mat behind you. And then arms alongside the legs. Chin to the chest, tailbone tucks. Think of a rounded spine as you slowly roll yourself down onto your back. Once you're there, give your knees a little hug in towards your body, a soft little squeeze. And then let your knees fall over to the right side. Your left arm reaches out in the opposite direction to take a nice spinal twist. The gaze goes with the hand, and you can use your right hand to gently keep the legs rooted to the floor, or you can just release it and let it do nothing. Nice and heavy through that left shoulder. Deep belly breaths. And then rolling back to the center. Go straight to the other side. Legs to the left, arm to the right, and the gaze follows that right hand. Left hand can pin down the legs. And just allow your body to feel soft here. Watching that breath in and out. And then rolling back onto your back. Let your arms come and release alongside your body. Let your legs step out onto the mat. And let everything just go nice and loose and floppy for a few moments here. See if you can release all tension, all effort from every muscle. Relax across your face, across your belly, and let your limbs feel nice and heavy. Watch your breathing as though it's a cloud of air that you're physically seeing enter the body and expand your lungs. And then watching as you breathe it out into the air around you. And then reaching those arms overhead. Reach through your toes, so you're making yourself as long as you can for a full body stretch. And then curl the knees back in. Make yourself into that small little ball. And then gently allow yourself to roll up to a seated position. Your final inhale to send the arms to the sky. Lengthen. Your final exhale to lower your hands towards your belly and your chin towards your chest. Thanks for taking this class, and if it was your first time doing yoga, well done for giving it a try. If you'd like a similar class to try out, you might like this one here, or you can find my most recent video by clicking here.